And we went out of town just a few months after we bought our property. My husband came home during a snowstorm to do some business in the area, and we find stakes in the yard next to us. I called the town and got the information on what was going on next door. We're new to the town of Cicero. We don't know what the zoning laws are here. We have a number of neighbors who know what the zoning laws are here. I asked for information. I got information. The town of Cicero was going to take care of us and protect our property. We spent a lot of money for our home. We looked a long time for our home. We're very disappointed that the town of Cicero didn't support us in protecting our property. Now we have a large home right next to us that is draining into our property. We have a huge pole barn, and I'd like to introduce all of you to that pole barn when you get a chance, Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway actually faces our property. He can see it. He can see how huge the house is. And I think he's made comments as to how large that pole barn is. We have big trucks coming in and out of there, in the property, the pole barn, and outside the pole barn. The neighbor asked me if it would be fine for him to put his commercial property in that pole barn. And I told him that the neighbors would have a problem with that. He erected it anyway. Permits were issued. As far as we know, we don't see anything in the record. No variance was requested. We didn't get a say. We were in Tucson. We could not represent ourselves, neither did any of our neighbors. Were they able to represent themselves? Monshonik and King has done a great job representing us and told us actually what was going on. I have a number of pictures of the flooding that has gone on between our properties. And I took a picture this afternoon of the pole barn from my back door. You can see what I'm looking at now. I'd like to have something done about this. We have over 30 neighbors that have written, have wanted to know about the information that's going on. They're upset. They've lived there 20, 30 years. Most of these people in my neighborhood are wonderful neighbors. And they're just as upset as I am. But particularly me, because I'm right next door.
I would like to say that when they started putting the poles up, I went over and looked at it. And I called Wayne, and I asked Wayne to come down and check it. And Wayne come down, and the biggest problem, I guess, was they didn't realize that was still R8. And because it did conform to the R8 code, except everything got changed to R10, so everything down there that are 50-foot lots are non-conforming lots.
Yes, it is 50-foot lot.
But Wayne did come down and look at it and checked everything, and it did conform to R8. You know, so there was a mistake made someplace in the zoning office. But I did come over and look at it when they started putting the poles in. Because I thought it looked awful big too.
Yeah, the first meeting, I think it was in February, with a number of my neighbors, my husband included. And it was agreed upon that there was a mistake made. The building's still going on. We asked for a stop work order. The neighbor's still building. How do we know that he's going to keep that house in that pole barn?
I think perhaps, and I want to cut you off, we've had a lot of discussion on this. Perhaps we need a meeting, Heather, with yourself, with Brody, with Wayne, to see what, if anything, and address each of these points to see how we got to where we are and what can be done.
And certainly be more than agreeable to doing that.
I think if we do that as soon as possible,
Thank you for your time.
you know, then perhaps Brody can be the liaison to, you obviously your client, but then he can report back to any findings as to what procedure, we are where we are today, we can't go back, but see what can be done from this point forward.
But why do we have to go out and get a lawyer to get your attention? With all the letters that we've written,
I haven't
with
seen
all the
one.
phone calls that were made, Mr. Kaczynski, why did we have to spend our money to get a lawyer to have this done?
Just to correct you on a couple issues, you said I've never contacted you. Yes, I have, because...
You never contacted me after we talked about the building. Yes, you did call me one time.
Yes, I did. And you made a comment that I didn't contact you, and I know I did. And the comment that I made to you
After the letters.
was, when these commercial vehicles started to come in there, you were supposed to call me so that we could go down and take care of them. I never got a phone call about that.
But that's not what the issue is anymore. We were told that that property was legally there, that the variances, that they did not need variances. I called you, Joanne called, a lot of people in this room called this office.
That's the information we initially got. After that, we found out that there was a problem.
And nothing happened since then, that's my point. When you found out there was a problem, nothing has happened.
The problem is going to be resolved right now, is what Jim just mentioned. Brody and Heather
Yeah.
and Wayne are gonna sit down, we're gonna figure out what's the problem.
But after we paid our lawyer, we should not, that's my point. You can just give me that point. We should not have had to go out and hire an attorney to get this done.
Well, and, I mean, you are where you are. I mean, perhaps, you know, like I said, I realize this was an issue down there. Attending board meetings, you know, letting us know is the best way so we can keep things moving.
So Brody, if you could, get in touch with Heather.
And we'll set up an appointment as soon as possible.